Hello, I hope you've had a good week this week, and my theme for this week is miracles. However, I'm going to talk a little bit about adversity first because we all have that. We have problems. Nobody is without problems, but one thing, God says He is always with us when we have our problems. And so I'm going to read a verse about that this time. It's Hebrew 13:5-6. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For He has said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. So that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me. Okay, now back to miracles. I'm going to tell you about a miracle that happened early in my married life. I had a little 6-year-old daughter, Cheryl, and my 3-year-old was Alan, and my cousin next door was over. Her name was Glenda, and she was over there playing with them, and they were in the yard playing. And my husband and my brother-in-law was pulling down Australian pine, a real big one, and they was using the tractor, and of course it would rear up like you've seen tractors rear up. But they finally got the tree over, and there was a big hole at where the roots came out, and the kids loved playing in it. And well, everything was down, the tractor was turned off, so there was no problem. There was no danger there. And so I let them play in that, and the girls played with Alan, and he had him a little can he was sitting on. And soon the girls got tired and come into the house to play. And Alan sit there for a little while, and all of a sudden he gets up and comes to the door, and he says, Mama, I got a TT. I said, okay, well, come on in and go to the bathroom. And so he did. Girls were still in the house. So all the children were in the house. No problem, right? All of a sudden, I hear a bam. I thought, my goodness, what happened? So I run to the front to see, and that tree had set back up in that hole, right where my baby had been sitting less than 5 minutes before. You better believe I praised God about that. And at church, or when I went to church Sunday, I praised Him again, because my baby, all 3 of the children could have been killed had it been not God's timing that brought them out of the hole. And so the other miracle that is not really it wasn't a miracle, but it's a song that I wrote. This lady that had helped me whenever I was learning my songs. When God gave me my songs, she played by ear, and she had a beautiful voice, but she was having problems at this time, and she was concerned, and she was asking for prayer because something about her throat, and she was afraid she's going to have surgery, and that it would affect her singing, and so I thought, well, I'll write her a song. And so I wrote this song. Now, it never seemed to appeal to her, but I did write, I have sung the song when I was living in Lake Buffum. I sang with a small jam session, about half a dozen, a couple, 8 more people, and we would then we would perform a few times at a park in Fort Meade. And so that's the song I'm going to sing today. And it's called, He Needed Me for a Miracle. Hidden in the Gospels of Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John are miracles of healing and of how God's will was done. How He made the lame to walk again, and He made the blind to see. But the miracle that's in my heart is now He's needing me. He needed me for a miracle. He wanted them to know the wondrous power of His love. He wanted me to show how much He loves and cares for them. He wants the world to see. He needed me for a miracle. His messenger I'll be. There are some things within my life I cannot understand. Just why, Lord, I must suffer when you've cleansed my soul from sin. How some things that happen, Lord, don't seem to be a part, and yet they're working miracles. I feel them in my heart. He needed me for a miracle. He wanted them to know the wondrous power of His love. He wanted me to show how much He loves and cares for them. He wants the world to see. He needed me for a miracle. His messenger I'll be. He needed me for a miracle. Praise God, He needed me. And I would also like to show my music too, and because I feel like that was a miracle as to how easily I got music. Well, I worked at it a little bit, finding it, but I didn't cost me a lot, and the music was always beautiful. Now, I have sung this song before in my videos, but this time I'm going to sing it to music, and it's called Only by the Grace of God. Was mad at me for telling her lies. She caught me with her mesmo making mud pies. Oh, how she shook, her face was so red. I never will forget the awful words that she said. If you ever get to heaven, my child, it will be only by the grace of God. Only by the grace of God. It won't come from being good. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try to do the things you know you should. But if you ever get to heaven, my child, it will be only by the grace of God. When Johnny was a teen, Daddy lent him his truck. Later surprised to find it bottom side up. Say something, Dad, or hit him instead. He'd rather took the beating than the words that Dad said. If you ever get to heaven, my son, it will be only by the grace of God. Only by the grace of God. It won't come from being good. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try to do the things you know you should. But if you ever get to heaven, my son, it will be only by the grace of God. I turned to the Lord, started reading His book. One day in Ephesians I decided to look. It told of His love, to sin we are dead. I was so surprised to find the way that it read. If you ever get to heaven, my friend, it will be only by the grace of God. Only by the grace of God. It won't come from being good. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try to do the things you know you should. But if you ever get to heaven, my friend, it will be only by the grace of God. Only by the grace of God. It won't come from being good. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try to do the things you know you should. But if you ever get to heaven, my friend, it will be only by the grace of God. Only by the grace of God. Thank you, and I'll see you again next week.